I want you to watch what happens when I type in Revelation 9:11 in Google and then click on images. And let's look at this very first one. They were ruled by a king, the angel of the abyss. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon. And then scroll over and look at this very next one, Revelation 9:11, angel of the abyss. Does he look familiar to you? Now, we'll get back to him in a second, but first I want to revisit Revelation 9:11. They had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon. Now, I couldn't help but make the connection of Revelation 9:11 and the bottomless pit. It reminded me of something else I've seen. The 9/11 memorial of two missing buildings, for some reason, has a pit. Does that seem a little odd to anyone? And well, I couldn't help but think that his inauguration is starting on January 19th, or 119, or 9/11 backwards. And hey, he was the 45th and 47th president. 45th and the 47th. And I don't know about you, but the January 19th or 119 start date in the candlelight dinner, in the Liberty, in the Starlight Ball couldn't help but remind me of something. I was reminded of the Statue of Liberty. And well, you know who the Statue of Liberty is, right? I mean, you've seen these comparisons, right, of this painting and the statue, and how this 1848 statue of Lucifer has the chains, like the Liberty has the chains, and the 7-point crown, and the 7-point crown, and the torch, and he's holding a torch, and hey, they even kind of look alike. But you've seen the original Statue of Liberty face, right? You know, the one that looks like this. That is an absolute dead ringer for Elvis. Which brings us all the way back here. Why would someone write a book, Revelation 9:11, Angel of the Abyss, and have that as the main character? That which is, I think, no mistake, who it is a tribute to. Maybe the author knows what I know. That the king that is about to be inaugurated to rule over them, beginning on 119, is not only this king, but also this king. Now you might be saying, how is any of this possible? Well, believe me, I'm going to tell you right after his face morphs seamlessly into his face. And right after you see that these dots match up with these dots. Again, perfectly, seamlessly, undeniably. And again, how is this all possible? Well, because we're living in a time period that you don't realize. A time period in the Bible referred to by Revelation 27, when Satan shall be loosed from his prison and go out to deceive the nations for a little while. And if one of these fallen angels is released for a little while to deceive the nations, don't you think it's possible that maybe the other 200 fallen angels were released? And maybe that's literally why there is a giant crater on fire in Turkmenistan that looks like something was released from the bottomless pit. And maybe that's exactly why the number of giant craters scattered all over this earth also matches 200. And maybe that's why they have such an affinity for 9/11 or 119, because it's a tribute to when they're released from the bottomless pit and given a little while to deceive all of us. And if some of you are getting mad at me over this blasphemy that you think I'm spewing, well, don't get mad at me. Jesus literally said it himself. There will be some of you standing here which shall not taste death till they see the Son of Man coming into his kingdom. And if you don't think you're living in a time where Satan is deceiving the nations, think how many people you once knew who thought they lived there and these existed, and that you came from one of these. Now, just to cover my butt and not have this censored,
let's see that in an instant replay.
this is all for entertainment purposes. Of course, I know I am related to a chimpanzee. I live on a spinning ball 1,000 miles per hour. Dinosaurs were most certainly real. The Dark Ages were most certainly dark, and nothing advanced or nothing was invented for 1,000 years, and it definitely wasn't a reign of peace with Jesus Christ. There's no such thing as fallen angels, and so what? There's 200 even if there were. Again, just a complete coincidence that there just happens to be 200 craters that looks like something came up from in the ground like a geyser. These guys are most certainly not the same people, even though faces don't ever line up exactly perfectly and symmetrical like that unless they are. Him being the 45th and the 47th president and that adding up to that is just coincidence. Elvis looks nothing like the Statue of Liberty. I mean, look. He's got hair and the Statue of Liberty doesn't. And so the Statue of Liberty has chains and 7-point crown and torch and is in the Big Apple, and there's an apple at the bottom of that statue right there. I mean, coincidence. And so he's posed the same way. It's not like he's referred to as the light bearer or anything and she has the light. And so this guy on the cover of the book with Revelation 11 looks exactly like Elvis. It means nothing. And so the towers came down on 9/11, and for some reason they decided to make a giant hole as a tribute to it. That has nothing to do with Revelation 9/11 and a bottomless pit. So what? Trump's inauguration starts on 1/19, which is 9/11 backwards, and there's candlelight, starlight, and liberty all seeming to be tributes to Lucifer the light bearer. It's not like Donald Trump's name is actually in Revelation 9/11 or anything. And so angels often have L in it, referring to the Elohim, and it's Elvis and sounds like Donnell. Again, just a coincidence. And so these two marks line up perfectly with those two marks. I mean, it's all just coincidence, all for your entertainment.